let's go on a nature walk. Today, I'm going to talk about how to do a nature walk. Now, it doesn't seem like it might be that complicated. You're just walking in nature. But as a homeschool mom, we tend to overcomplicate things, and we want to make them as educational as possible and do the very best that we possibly can, and maybe add some bells and whistles onto it as well. But in reality, a nature walk can be as simple as just walking around a park or even your neighborhood. Now, you do not want to make it a time when you're giving a lecture or even a lesson. Now, object lessons are different from that. They're the exception, and I'll talk more about what an object lesson is. But in reality, a nature walk is very simple. And Charlotte Mason had some ideas of how to get the most out of nature walk, and they're very simple ideas. Now, the first one, especially for young children, is to have them walk out to a certain area. So maybe you see a beautiful tree out in the distance. It's changing color because it's fall. You ask your children to run out there and to come back and report on what shape, what color the leaves are. What does the bark look like? What do the branches look like? Are the branches coming off all on one side, or are they alternating? What shape are the leaves again? What color are they? Where is it growing? Is it growing by other trees that look like them? So there's so many things that you can have them do to come back and then give you a full report on what this tree is, to be your eyes per se, to pretend that maybe you can't see and they need to come and describe every detail to you so you can see it in your mind's eye. You could do this with a tree, you could do this with a pond, you could do it with a hill, just something for them to go and come back and to be able to describe that in words and to see it in their mind's eye and tell you what that looks like. And then there's other things you can do, like a geo-trot, which I like to use during our nature walk. It's a multi-purpose time. So geotrots are simply observing the geography that you are, or the geography of the place that you're visiting. So this could be a state park, which me and my family, we like to go to different state parks and then look at the different geography there. So different parts of the state, there's going to be different, the geology is going to be different. There maybe is going to be a lake. It might be more flat. It might be hilly or mountainous. So just giving a variety of places that we go. And then I like to visit those places in different seasons so that we are seeing the different seasonal changes that occur. And don't be afraid to go in bad weather. Now, that brings me to the next point of, should we do nature walks in the winter? And in theory, yes, absolutely do nature walks at every time of the year, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing. The only time we don't go on nature walks is when it is below a certain temperature. We like to have very warm boots. We have wool undergarments, or like wool jammies, put on some waterproof outer clothes, then some warm wool socks with some insulated boots and extra gloves in case they get wet, and then a hat and maybe even a scarf if it's really cold. Now, bringing hot chocolate and some hand warmers is a good idea. There's just something special about drinking something warm, and it keeps them going for a lot longer than you maybe thought they could. So if it's cold, you just want to come prepared. There's that old saying that there's never bad weather, just bad clothing. And so making sure you're prepared for that. And it might be shorter. You might be doing a lot shorter nature walks when it's colder or it's pouring rain with wind. So we try to go out at any time of the weather and just see which plants or which animals are out and about. Which plants do we see? What do the trees look like in winter? There's so many things to see on your nature walks during all seasons. So when you're doing nature walks, just as a summary, you want to make sure that you're going during all seasons. You want to go to different places like a meadow. You want to go to maybe a mountain, a lake, a stream, If you live in the desert, try to go to different places in different areas. I know that, at least for my in-laws that live in Las Vegas, there are vastly different biomes just 20 minutes away, and the geography and the geology is so different. So try to give some variety and visit those places during each of the seasons. And so I mentioned earlier you don't want to give a lesson during your nature walk, and this is true. This is not supposed to be a time when you lecture and you're telling them the scientific names and you're telling them all about the plant or all about the animal on all these random facts. Your children tune out. And Charlotte Mason has told us many times through her volumes that a lecture where the child just sits and listens to your narration is not the best mode of teaching. So when you're on a nature walk, you are observing. You can ask questions to direct your child's attention to certain things. So which trees are changing? What color are they? And maybe you've seen them in the spring and summer, so you know what kind of tree they are. So they're taking notice of which trees are changing color first. Maybe they're taking notice of which leaves are falling first. Maybe which flowers are in blossom. Now, I like to take note of which trees are changing color, which flowers are in blossom, which trees are blossoming. All the first. This is a notebook that Charlotte Mason recommended keeping, and you can do this as a family or kids can do it individually. And I've talked about the calendars that I like to use, and I'll show that with the nature notebooks. But we just record the first and a log of the different flowers and the different trees that are either blooming or whatever they're doing during that season in the side margin of our calendars, so that we know, oh, these are the weeks that the goldenrod is blooming. It's super simple, and this is what we do on our nature walk, just kind of take note of which things are in bloom, which things are happening when during the season, and mark that in our calendars. And so that's one thing you can do on your nature walk. Look for flowers that are blooming. You can look for birds. And you can either record this in your calendar, or we use an app called Merlin Bird app. And this is where we can record which birds, and we can even identify. And I like the Merlin Bird app because it forces the child to look and to think, to observe. Where was the bird found? What size was it? What were all the colors on it? And where was it? Was it in a tree? Was it on the ground? Was it wading in the water? Was it soaring? And then, so they have to take some note of that. And then it gives all the options of the birds that it might be. So we like to keep track of birds that we see through our life list. And so that's all we do on our nature walks. We look at the geography, we look, some other geographical features that you could look for is, where is the sun in the sky? And is it lower down in the southwest, or is it higher up? So having them notice those things. Which birds are migrating? Which ones do you see? Which ones do you not see? So many things that you can notice on your nature walks, but this is a time for observation. Now, I said that you shouldn't do a lesson except for an object lesson. And object lessons, I use the questions from Handbook of Nature Study, and I bring this book with me based on our special study topic. And so we might look for our special study topic. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, it's just a seasonal native plant or animal that we want to really look for and study. It's like a focus, just giving us some focus, some structure of what to look for on our nature walks, and to really delve in and form a relationship with that plant or animal. And so I will bring that book with me, and in case we find something that we're studying, and then we can do an object lesson. Now, I like to do object lessons in the field where the plant or animal lives in its natural habitat, and so we can observe its behavior. But sometimes you can bring it home, and I do that a lot more in the winter, especially when we're studying trees. They're a lot easier to bring home and study at our kitchen table. So if you are on a nature walk, I recommend bringing the Handbook of Nature Study that has all the questions that you can ask for an object lesson if you want to do it then. Now, do we do nature journals on our nature walk? And we do not. The nature journals are beautiful. And again, I'm going to do a whole series on this. So this is the nature journal. This is mine. I keep a nature journal with my kids. So I do not bring this with me because they get bent and wet and just they're a beautiful thing that we want to keep beautiful and undamaged. So we keep that at home and we do the nature journal when we get back. We don't ever do nature journals on the field or when we are on our nature walk. Now, I know some people do, we just don't. It's too much work and we never have a table and we can't do our watercolors very well when we are in a field. So we do that later when we come home. So that is how we do a nature walk. Now, if you're interested in being a fly on the wall, taking a peek at what a nature walk would look like with real kids and real mom, I am going to be posting a video of that, a nature walk with my kids from this fall in Patreon. And Patreon is just my membership site where I post little extras in case you want to delve deeper into the subject that I'm talking about on YouTube. So that is all. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever new videos come out.